Okay, so we're going to do a reading for the week ahead, May 27th to June 3rd, which is going to include our Gemini new moon. And this is going to be a lot to do with communication, information, possibly some more revelations, and there's some positive trines happening in the sky with this Gemini new moon. So there can be some positive communications or mental insights that help us manifest potentially, dreaming a new dream with those outer planets, Neptune and Saturn, moving into Aries. And there's a lot to do with autonomy, right? Like sovereignty and a spark of life and knowing who we are and being able to dream our own dream and hold our own in the mix of relating to other people. And again, uh the twins of Gemini, that symbol of duality, and a recognition that we all have the duality. We all have the good, the bad, the light, the dark, the masculine, feminine, that we are whole beings with a spectrum of awareness and that deeper insight, questioning ourselves, questioning our relationships, perhaps. I'm also getting, a deeper sense of some of our intuitive psychic abilities and how, as a collective, we're really anchoring that in. Divine guidance and love and clarity for this collective. Divine guidance and love and clarity. Some of you, there's a decision. There's a decision potentially around conflict, inner conflict, and or conflict that we have going on um, in our world, right? Because I saw both the sort of conflicted or conflict energy, Five of Sword, Five of Wands, and having to make a decision. Some of us might need to take a bit of a trip, to take a bit of a retreat, reset journey, right? Like Three of Wands is getting away, booking a travel trip. But I do often see it on a deeper spiritual level where we're like having to come out of the day to day, take ourselves away from the day to day routines, or certainly maybe looking out at potentials, right? We might decide, I really want to take a trip, take a holiday, get away from things. The reason it's a bit soulful is that the Three of Wands is represented with just one person. It's not like we're going to go on a holiday with a bunch of people we like, or we're going to take a big adventure trip. It's like, soul discovery, going away where we might learn something, hence like a retreat or a healing center or something like this. Like, it just feels soft, it feels gentle. And again, with that Gemini new moon, it could be really about what we're manifesting for ourselves, that we're seeding intention to take a trip, to go away for ourselves for the purpose of learning. That's something too coming through, like learning and discernment. And increasingly, I think with the AI vibratory and the chat GPT, but certainly with the AI, our ability to be increasingly discerning with the information that we're engaging with. There's a curiosity, see, and an openness that we can anchor with the totality of the experience. And as much as we want to be discerning with what we're consuming on the screens, we want to also be discerning in our own headspace. Like, what are we thinking about? What are we vibrating? How are we relating to the inner dialogue that's going on within us? And then how are we expressing more of our authenticity in the world around us, on our screens, right? Just found a little bit of something. We're really ramping up with the sort of evolution of consciousness as well. Something too about why meditation and grounding and embodiment work continues to be supreme, is that the information can continue to almost like fracture our ability to think autonomously. So even just being mindful of like our routines and our patterns and how we're kind of connecting to those patterns and how we're connecting to thought form, and again claiming our ability to think more positively, or certainly to think more critically about ourselves in the mix of this reality. There's something about, acknowledging the divine mystery as we continue to open up to broader landscapes. Something is coming through too about healing, that we might witness and continue to experience like miraculous healing, and or a recognition of our own miraculousness through intention, attention, right? Where we're putting our attention, how we're feeling and relating to our own bodies as well, which obviously includes that thinking realm. I am pulling cards here, divine guidance and loving clarity, movement forward coming in. There could be okay. So there's stagnation or um no communication, very little communication, or like iffy communication possibly, like not very clear communication, and the Hanged Man. So there's something that we're having to pause about, even though like we might be looking at the horizon, we might be wanting to take a trip, we might be wanting to get away. Okay, so there's the Chariot and the Emperor and the Empress in the reverse. And I am getting a sense of like wanting to move something forward, possibly a relationship, a business partnership, power couple vibe for sure with the Emperor and the Empress. They're right beside each other, and the Chariot reverse, or pardon me, Chariot in the upright. It would appear to here that the Queen of Cups is sort of signaling to me that there's some reflectivity around a partnership, but at this present moment, there's very little to no communication happening. This could be also what we're envisioning, what we're manifesting, what we're being guided to move forward on. Knowing that there are more benevolent, divine, match kind of energy in our social circles. Definitely a release point. So for some of you, it could be actually letting go of, releasing. There's a burden around what might have seemed like a power couple situation, and we're walking away, we're letting go. And the Chariot is on their own. Like the Chariot is just one person moving forward here. And of course, the Three of Wands is a single person as well. So a lot of you guys are actually letting go of a seemingly power couple relationship, but with both parties in the reverse, it hence letting go of it, right? Letting go. Maybe there was too much underlying conflict here, and the decision's been made. So some of you are probably moving yourself forward to heal from this situation, especially if there was a lot of unspoken conflict and like a drainage for both parties. I'm hearing a lack of healing. Okay, and then that's pretty good. So we have this energy of moving forward on our own, feeling self-directed and still believing in a higher love. Interesting. So collectively speaking, this could also be about a dissolution of the illusion of power couple via status and control. So we might even see on the broader collective, like so-called power couples separating, going their separate ways, right? And then of course in our personal lives, there can be a dissolution of any kind of relationships that might appear powerful, but actually they're not. They're abuses of power, they're conflict, petty conflict, passive aggressiveness, a lack of clear communication. And like as individuals, feeling guided to move forward in our spiritual connection, in our autonomy, right? I am feeling this is like pretty, like quite spiritual, quite like, even if it's been a while, right? There's something about, you know what, this situation didn't work out. I'm ready to move forward now. There's no communication. Queen of Swords is like, I know my mind, I know my worth. You're feeling guided with the Chariot. You're feeling the momentum of your own spiritual journey guiding you forward. And this looks really positive with the Wheel of Fortune and the Lovers card. So things are going to turn around. Things are turning around by you going your own way. I'm hearing just one more card. Defo. A King of Swords. A King of Swords with the Queen of Swords. So and then Justice card. Things are definitely turning around after we've walked away, after we have let go, after we have genuinely really felt that healing from partnerships, any kind of partnerships, friendships that are based in the illusion of power and control, status symbol, that we're not able to resolve ongoing conflict. And so we lay it down, 10 of Wands. We lay it down. We make a decision to lay it down and walk away, prioritize ourselves, right? Neptune, Saturn in Aries. Aries, Chiron has been moving through Aries, right? I'm pretty sure we're going to soon be having a Venus conjunct Chiron in Aries. So this is all just like, what have we learned and how are we embodying that learning? And then being guided to move forward for ourselves, for our own vision. Aries is very singular. It's the first sign of the zodiac, right? So it's like self, it's being born. You're just a little baby. You know, you're not worried about other people. You're not worried about relationships. You're certainly not worried about your status in the world or how much power you have, right? So there's something here about feeling guided to move forward in your autonomy. And through this expansion, through maybe taking a trip or going traveling, it's like you find your source again. You find yourself. You're like, oh, yeah, I have my own mind. Oh, yeah, I can be myself. And certainly that's something too about our ability to be ourselves in relationship, in community, that we don't feel compromised, that we're not feeling like someone's trying to take control or, you know, fix things necessarily, that there's a real sense of just knowing your worth, moving forward in a direction that feels aligned for you, visioning that forward momentum. And then there's the Lovers and the Wheel of Fortune. Things are definitely turning around with regards to relationships, but these two are both upright, and this is the Justice energy. So we're actually moving forward to greater balance in our relationships, which obviously means having done a lot of inner work, having done a lot of healing, that we're healing the divisiveness within self, that we're healing a lot of the duality construct within self to bring justice into our co-creative relationships, right? And then again, for some of you, the Five of Pentacles has come up a fair bit recently. Like, for some of us, this has been tough, you know, really feeling left out, really feeling like we're wilting. And this is like turning our back on structures of control that imbalance us on a very physical level, right? Some of you all are going to get communication here. Or maybe like there's a certain readiness to communicate. I would say this too, like someone's been hermiting. Someone has been really kind of withdrawn. Trying to find their light, trying to find their spark again. This could be you. Take what resonates, leave the rest, right? Finding our spark again, finding our desire, finding like, what direction do you want to go in? Oh yeah, I'm going to go do this. This feels right now. Turning our back on the structures of control, people, places, and things that imbalance us, that make us feel out of kilter, out of balance, and just kind of plugging away, doing your own thing, right? This is something about like just puttering around, doing your own thing, tending to your own garden, and then harvesting, right? Like being able to harvest the work we've put in individually, right? Without attaching to career, to externals, to people, to excavate our personal power. Often is the case, we're going to have to find that within self. And that's, I was getting a hit the last couple days, like about safety and like genuinely feeling safe in our bodies. And in this world, even with just the media vibratory, that can be challenging, right? There's war and there's fear and there's control systems and there's abuses of power. And for a lot of us, it's like, I can't engage with that anymore. I want to move forward. I want to find my own light. I want to really be guided by that light. And then the Wheel of Fortune to me is like divine timing, a letting go of so much that like divine timing just takes over. For a lot of you, you're going to be moving toward a higher love and definitely a higher harmonic around balanced exchange with the Justice card. I'm hearing karmic reward with that Justice card. Karmic reward for those of you who have taken risks in your life, who have broken free from the chains of past patterns. There's something too about our attunement to like trust. So obviously to feel safe, there's got to be an element of trust because there's so many unknowable factors. There's so much really uncertainty, even when we think there's certainty. Things like natural disasters, things like broader societal factors that impact all of us in different ways. And thus, even when we think, you know, we've got a really secure job, there can be layoffs. There can be things that change on a corporate level that mean that that so-called security isn't secure anymore. That's part of the higher wisdom of awakening to higher consciousness, right? Or to attuning to a divine source of spirituality from within. And I just feel that Six of Cups is like really pulling in, really withdrawing, really attuning. I've gotten that a few messages from some Patreons and from internet people and from people in my personal reality about getting back into like more spiritual practice, having to really kind of withdraw and meditate more and journal more and getting into that sort of energetic sequencing of trust, because the knowing of the self is the divine spark, right? Like knowing that you're connected in your own way, and aligning ourselves with the vision of Neptune in Aries, right? New systems, new visions, and then the Saturn moving in, the potential to create those systems is very, very real. Oh my god, how cool. So we have Neptune and we have Aries. And then I've also pulled the 11th house of community card. So for some of you, going your own way, exiting from situations that had conflict, too much underlying conflict that we couldn't resolve, making a decision to shed the burden, let go of the burden of trying to make these distorted power structures work, releasing it emotionally, healing it, transforming it, right? Feeling all the feelings and deciding I've got to go my own way. I'm going to move forward. I'm going to take a trip. I'm going to go it alone for a bit. Aries is about action, right? So that swift movement of going in a different direction is actually being guided by a higher vision for our personal lives and, of course, for the collective. And also knowing that this breakthrough is a lot to do with our communities and potentially anchoring them, finding our communities, even with the Three of Wands. Like, I'm going to go it alone, and then we stumble upon whomever, right? Whatever. And there ends up being a kind of benevolent community there of like minds, of divine souls, a lot of acceptance and non judgment, feeling really connected. And then the trine with Wheel of Fortune, Lover's card, Justice card, and the Rebel. So there's something here about our risks are going to bring reward, and or like rebellion in the sense of I'm committing to myself and I'm going against the grain. I'm going against my old patterns. I'm going against the systems of control. I'm going against whatever, right? So much of the fracture, I would say, with regards to an awakening is like the different tiers and levels and layers of like wanting to embody things or wanting to manifest, right? Wanting to create. And yet so often a lot of those creations are laced in oppressive systems. And until we really navigate coming into that wholeness of autonomy and connection to self, where we're truly, truly living in that centered magic, right? Like in connection to the planet, in authentic connection with other, which just requires a lot of honesty and vulnerability, then we get the reward, because Saturn wants us to have the systems and the patterns that are going to take us into the future, right? With the Neptune card. We're all creating new visions. We're all, part of this dance of life on the planet. And the idea of a higher awakening isn't to keep oppressive systems in place, it's to break it down. And the breaking down is happening simultaneously with creating new. And there's a birthing here of new leadership. That's why the Empress and the Emperor are in the reverse. There's conflict intertwined with a lot of perceived power couples or people that we would think have power, but there's a distortion of power. They're not necessarily fully autonomous, and or they're endeavoring to hold up old systems. So often is the case through these awakening pathways that we have to go it alone. We have to have the courage and the strength to go our own way, to learn our own lessons, right? In creation, in connection to the universal God force or whatever. Then we can know our mind. Then we can sit on our throne and know our mind and move into those divine timing timelines. So it's like that's that nuance, right? If you create your own reality, well, there's with the universal forces. Wheel of Fortune, things are turning around for some of you in love, definitely with the Lover's card and the Wheel of Fortune. Hence, acting on your own volition and moving forward in your own inspiration is actually moving you to a much more grounded, anchored divine union with the King and the Queen of Swords and coming into greater balance. But recognize something old, like another relationship, often has to dissolve, be released, and let go of for a new relationship to be born or to come together. For those of you, if you're in doubt mode, this right order is really giving me a sense of like there's a deep trust in knowing within the connection to your own source that even when things are shit, somehow there's order in that. Even when things appear to be super awful, there's divine order in all of it. All right, that's the forecast for the week ahead. Feel free to subscribe, like, share this message if you think it could help some people in your life. Feel free to book a private reading on my website, altalove.com. And you can also find the shop there so you can support the brand by buying some stuff from the T-mail store, including we've got mugs and water bottles, and we've got these awesome journals as well, and some tote bags and different bits and bobs. And you can buy my book from Amazon Kindle and Audible. And there's the online courses, and there's the Patreons as well. Patrons get ad-free first access. They'll usually get these videos a few days before the public. And they also are getting more of the full extended daily readings, where the shorts that I put out are little portions of those daily readings. So again, to support small businesses and small content creators, feel free to support my channel and stay tuned for more tarot readings and more spiritual, alchemical insights, and a lot of love. Have a wonderful day, you guys. Take care and peace out.